Evelyn to Philip, October 24th, 1944. My sweet, at long last, a letter, and a very old one too, as it is dated October 3rd. However, it is still some form of mail, and it is a delightful letter, and I couldn't have had a better tonic for what ailed me the past few weeks. I get hungry for you just reading this letter. I can't help wondering at this late date whether or not you are on furlough at your present time, or whether you have been moved, since you mentioned that you will take a furlough at the end of this month if nothing prevents. The meals the Army sees fit to bestow upon their men sound so good that my mouth is watering. Sure do wish I could keep you company at one of those meals. I'm glad you'd kiss Adele instead of spanking her for being bad, and many is the time I wish you were here so that you could take her off my hands for a little while. Stevens didn't go out of business as far as I know. I believe one of the family took over or something. The end of your letter is very beautiful, baby, and very little of it excites comment from me. All I want to do is get as close to you as possible so I can do all the things I'm aching to do to you. Sigh. As is usual, when I use the stationery, I'm at the office. It's 10 minutes to 6, and we'll be leaving shortly. I cleaned up every bit of work I had today, and so I'm filling in the extra time with this, whether they like it or not. I had quite a busy morning. Went to Broad Street to shop with my mother, and then shopped in town for a short while before coming to work. Gimbel's had a big sale today, and I thought I might pick up something. I darn near did, and there were some good buys to make, but I hadn't had sufficient time to try on the suit and sports coat I might have purchased. For instance, the coat I liked was reduced from $42 to $28, and the suit from $35 to $20. That's what I call good buys. As long as I have the money, I can always get something. Page 2. This evening I'm taking home 3 packages for Adele. The 3 packages set me back $2, but all items are very nice. One is a box of brightly colored chalk, 12 sticks for her blackboard. Another is a set of 5 celluloid toys, some of the first to be released, that float in the water and keep a child amused while it is bathing. The third is a complicated affair to explain, and so I shall cut the picture of it off the box and send it along to give you an idea of what it is. The blocks whirl around and around until they are barely visible. Adele ought to keep occupied for a little while, at any rate. Back home again, sweet, and there was no more mail, though I had sort of expected some. My dad forgot to give me the stick to the toy picture enclosed, and so we could not demonstrate the toy to Adele. She loved the celluloid toys, which consist of a red goose, a red ball, a red hoop with a dog looking through it, a little natural colored figure of a boy, and a white celluloid dog. I floated all of them in the tub while she bathed, and she didn't know which one to play with first. As soon as Adele was asleep, I washed, and then I worked on her pink sweater. I am happy to report that I just finished the sweater, all except sewing the buttons on and blocking it. It came out nicely, and I think I shall put her initials on it. It's kind of late, sweet, and I'm very sleepy. Adele was restless all last night and woke several times. I felt sleepy all day long, and I'm anxious to get to bed, as it is now 11. You've undoubtedly been sleeping for hours and are probably ready to get up. So instead of saying my usual good night, I shall say good morning. It's another day to love you, my dearest one, and how I love you. I am your Ev. Philip to Evelyn, 24 October 1944. Ev, dearest, Sorry I missed writing these past 2 days, but something interfered both nights when I was about to settle down to writing. Nothing remarkable has transpired in that time, however, so you really haven't missed anything. Your letters are coming through regularly now, honey, and I have your longie of the 10th October and your V-mails of 12 and 13 October. As I have already said, nothing of any account has taken place, so I'll get right on with answering your letters. Did I tell you about the 3-pound box of Loft's candies that I received from Gloria the other day? Well, I just finished writing to thank her for them. They are delicious candies, and I and my hutmates are enjoying them very much. On the 12th, you brought home that blackboard for the pumpkin. That ought to keep her out of mischief for a while. You described that coat you were looking at for Adele as a moss green, pimply plaid, but I'm hanged if I can visualize it. I always thought a plaid was a mixture of colors. Then where does the moss green come in? Unless that is the predominating color. If such is the case, why didn't you say so? Very confusing. Just how big is a kid's 7.5D shoe? Is it average, small, large, or what? I was glad to read, Chippy, that you're not waiting for Milt to write, but are writing to him at intervals anyway. Now that I have written to all those, page 2, to whom I owed letters, I'm only waiting for another break to write to Milt and Sid. I feel very guilty that I have not done so for so long a time. Those vitamin tablets seem to be doing you a world of good, Chippy. Think you'll pull your weight up to 120? So everyone thinks your new glasses tend to make you look more intelligent. Not a very intelligent observation, if you ask me, but they probably meant that they made you look more intellectual. Evidently, sweet, glasses don't flatter you. That was a pretty expensive outfit your dad bought himself. For that kind of money, I used to be able to buy 2 suits and 2 top coats. But isn't it sort of late in the season to be buying a top coat? Seems to me, with winter approaching, he'd do much better to get himself an overcoat. Or is that what you meant in the first place? Tony Arcaro is certainly traveling. Don't hold your breath when I tell you this, baby. And above all, don't read into it any meaning other than what the bare statement implies. But there is a 50-50 chance that at least half of Anne's dream will materialize. But what's Anne's wasting her dreams on me for? I purposely left your letter of the 10th for the last, since it is the longest, and I wasn't sure that I'd have time enough to answer it at this time. However, it's still early, so I'll start on it anyway. Page 3. This was the day that you were so happy because 1, you received 2 of my letters, and 2, because you finally got those shoes for the pumpkin, and white ones at that. What can I say to that, darling, except my most hearty congratulations? Don't let that War Department letter stating that Eddie is still seriously ill alarm you, baby. Please take my word for it that there is nothing about his condition that justifies worriment on anyone's part. If you'll reread my letter on my visit to him and give it a little thought, you may begin to understand why there is an apparent discrepancy between the opinions of the War Department and myself. You may even get an inkling as to why his letters are so few and so queer. Verstehst? I'm delighted, sweet, that you like the sweater patterns. Please, darling, make it your business to make at least one of them. I'd like few things better than to see them all one day in your wardrobe. Don't think I'm not looking forward to watching you complete that bedspread either. From what you say here, I gather that I needn't have any apprehensions on the candy question. Of course, I'm happy about the whole thing. I thank you, dear, for your broad-mindedness in the matter. I half suspected that you might discourage any tentative gifts of page 4, candy. Reading about how much Adele loves to ride in cars makes me wonder if we'll be able to manage one once I get home. I certainly would like nothing better than to take my chippies riding. Your clipping that you enclosed proves that you two are thinking about what we shall do once I am home again. No, I don't think it would be a good idea to invest what money we have and can raise in a $10,000 home. I think it would be a much better idea to use the money getting established in business. Who knows, in a few years we may be able to put a substantial payment on a home too. The gist of it is that a home cannot provide the revenue to start in business, but a business might easily pay for a home. Catch? Therefore, always being one to take first things first, I'll give you just one guess which it is to be. I'm surprised anew each time you tell me that Cousin Phil has written to you. Seems like the older I get, the more I see of people, the less I know about them and can judge them. I don't believe I have his address, and I think I owe him a letter. Speaking of Phil reminds me that I had a letter the other day from a Lieutenant Gene Foreman who ran across my name in the Red Cross Club at Norwich and thinks he knows me. Evidently he has me mixed up with Cousin Phil. Page 5, because I never heard of the guy. However, since he isn't stationed very far from where I am, I may get to meet him someday. I have replied to his letter and am currently awaiting an answer. Well, baby, that's about all, except that when you write, as you have here, about picking up your arms and flying to me, I can't help wishing that it were possible, which prompts this little thought. If angels' wings were mine to gain through faith or alms or blameless life, I'd scorn to look upon the wine. I'd give my all to those in need. I'd try my brand new wings in flight and meet you halfway, angel mine. All right, so it doesn't rhyme, gee whiz. Oh well, if you insist it must rhyme, I'll fix it. But I wouldn't do it for anyone else. Well, oh, so you don't like that either, eh? Just skip it then. Maybe some other time when it's not quite so late and I can think a little more clearly, huh? Good night for now, honey. Cuddle up a little closer, will you? Ah, that's better, much better. Did you remember to kiss the pumpkin for me? Good. I love you, Chippy. Sleepily, your Phil.